The ZUMA-5 is a registrational multicenter phase 2 study evaluating Axi-cel in patients with relapsed or refractory indolent non-Hodgkin lymphoma. To be eligible, these patients had to have either follicular lymphoma of grade 1, 2, 3A, or marginal zone lymphoma, either nodal or extranodal, after 2 or more lines of prior therapies. Once the patients were enrolled, they received conditioning after leukapheresis and product generation. They received conditioning chemotherapy with cyclophosphamide and fludarabine, and a single infusion of Axi-cel at a dose of 2 million CAR-positive cells per kilogram body weight. And the primary endpoint for the study was overall response rate. So as of the data cutoff for this ASH abstract, 151 patients have been enrolled, and 146 were treated with 124 for follicular lymphoma and 22 for marginal zone lymphoma. And we found that these patients were all had, majority of them had advanced stage disease of more than 85%, very high FLIPI score in up to half the patients, and high tumor burden as defined by Gulf criteria, as well as majority of the patients had 3 or more lines of therapy and were refractory to last therapy that they received. But despite this, with a single infusion of Axi-cel, we found that the overall response rate was 92%, and the complete response rate was 76%. In fact, the numbers were even slightly better in follicular lymphoma cohort, with an overall response rate of 94% and a complete response rate of 80%. The responses were consistent across many key subgroups, including high-risk FLIPI, high Gulf criteria, or POD24 group, suggesting that this therapy is quite effective across all patients. With a median follow-up of 17.5 months, the median PFS and overall survival was not reached for the follicular lymphoma patients, and the PFS rate at 12 months was 74% for follicular lymphoma, so for all patients, and the overall survival rate was 93%. And the therapy itself was quite well tolerated, with grade 3 or higher CRS observed in only about 7% of the patients, and grade 3 or higher neurological toxicity observed in 19% of the patients. There were no grade 5 neurological events reported. So in summary, in this primary analysis of the ZUMA-5 registrational study evaluating Axi-cel in indolent non-Hodgkin lymphoma, we found that Axi-cel induces a very high overall response rate, as well as complete response rate, as well as durability of those responses.